And we're going to move on to Vince McMahon versus Top Guys. And it's no secret, the way to become and stay a tippy top guy is to have a relationship with the man himself. So the next clip is all about how the headliners have fought to maintain that relationship with Vince.
I don't mean for this to sound weird, and I know that some of our listeners are going to have fun with the way I'm phrasing this, but it's been said once upon a time that in order for you to be really a top guy, the top guy, Vince has to sort of fall in love with you. And I think when you look at the statement you made a minute ago of, well, the idea was, how do we get all the belts on Diesel and Shawn? It feels like Vince is in love with Diesel and Shawn at this point. Is that fair to say?
I don't know if he was or not, but that wasn't Vince's idea. That was our idea. Our idea was to get everything on them to then blow them up. That was the impetus of this whole thing, where Pat and I are talking about, like, okay, let's load them up so that you think these guys are impenetrable and you can't. Is that even a fucking word?
It is now, you know?
Okay. Impenetrable. Yeah, that. They're on top of the world, and then blow it up. So that was, as you're going into this shit and we're doing this and everything's happening so damn fast that, okay, let's do this. Let's go here. And then obviously shit changed as we got into it. But, no, it wasn't even Vince's idea. Vince was like, what the fuck do you do with it? And his first thought was, goddamn, they can't be tag team champions, which, again, we'll get there.
Talk to me about, my freestyle that maybe Vince has to be in love with you to be the top guy. Like, I know that certainly he rode Hulk Hogan to the promised land, and, then, the Shawn Michaels run is really the one I think of next, because it does feel like whenever Vince is on commentary, he's really selling it. And we've heard for a long time that Vince had a different relationship with Shawn, where it was maybe different than the relationship he had with Brett or Hogan. And, obviously, he's going to have a really tight relationship for a while with Steve Austin, a very much open door and a different type relationship again than what he had with Shawn. But we hear that he had that with John Cena as well. Is there some sort of, hey, when we're going to give you the ball, when we're going to make you the champ, when I'm going to sort of put my company on your shoulders, we're going to get a lot closer here. We're going to be on the same page about what we're doing, 'cause we're not doing it, any other way than together.
Well, that's accurate, but I think that a lot of it starts most of the time it'll start from a whole different relationship. I mean, it was Shawn Michaels wasn't Vince's favorite person in the beginning by any stretch of the imagination. You can go down the list of those talent, but when they get to that point, you got to have a strong relationship and a strong bond to be able to work together as closely as we all do. And Vince wants their input just as much as anything, because they're the guys out there carrying that ball, and they're the ones that are putting the company on their back. So but that relationship is built over time. It's not like, God damn, I love you and I'm going to make you champion.
Oh, no, I didn't mean
it's I'm going to make you, we're going to put this on you and we're going to get through it together. And if a bond builds, then a bond builds. Sometimes a bond doesn't build.
Yeah. I didn't mean to insinuate that, these guys are holding hands and writing love notes and doing picnics. I was trying to not insinuate that. I just mean in terms of, hey, this is our guy. Let's give him every opportunity we can. We're going to do everything we can to sort of put the franchise on him. And it feels like at different times he's done that with Roman Reigns, or he's done that with John Cena. Certainly did it with Stone Cold, and he did it with Shawn Michaels, and he tried to do it with Brett, and he did it with Hogan. And this just feels like right now, for whatever reason, in 1995, man, it's all about Shawn Michaels and Kevin Nash.
Yeah. And they were the guys that he was looking to and putting the company on their shoulders. That bond was developing during this time.
Is Vince, when he talks about Shawn and Diesel in this era, does he believe that Shawn is the best wrestler in the world and Diesel is sort of the airport guy? Like, God damn, look how big he is. And he's quote unquote natural. He's not this gassed out of his mind guy that maybe, people would raise an eyebrow about just a couple years prior?
I think the argument could be said on both of them because, Kevin Nash was that guy. To this day, Kevin Nash walks into a room. He's damn near 7 feet tall
and jacked
looks
up.
It looks like a fucking matinee idol. And even now, he's gray hair, this debonair, does the damn, stroking the goatee and all that shit because he has a quote weak chin, but. They were a package. And Shawn, just the way Shawn strutted around everywhere, Shawn Michaels looked like he was somebody. So they lived it to the hilt. And Kevin Nash was the kind of guy, when you look at him, especially during this time, he stood out. I mean, you could pick him out of a crowd, and he was somebody that we were looking to get behind and move up that ladder.
Adam wants to know, has Bruce ever sneezed in front of Vince?
Oh, yeah. And you know how I sneeze.
Oh my God. I don't know that the audience knows that, but Bruce sneezing is a fucking production. I mean, think about the loudest. I mean, it sounds like an attack scene in Jurassic Park, loud and violent. I mean, he's putting on a production. You think this can't be real, but it happens not once, but multiple times.
Yeah. And when I sneeze a minimum of 8 to 9 times.
Yeah. It's where you think like he's stuck. You know how you've had like a CD that skips? Well, he'll do it. I sneeze in 3s. I don't know why that is, but we've counted, and Bruce is always either 8 or 9. He's never sneezed once in his life.
No.
So when that happens, does Vince have a fucking aneurysm?
No, he puts the shield down.
Oh God. So he just holds up like a notebook and.
No, he has an invisible shield he pulls down. If this were video, you would see me with my index finger and thumb holding it up in front of my face and acting like I'm pulling a string down.
He legitimately pretends like he has an invisible shield.
Yeah, but it doesn't pretend. He's got an invisible shield. He's Vince McMahon. You don't know.
That's the best. So there's a Pra wants to know, does Vince know about your Vince-isms like chocolate titties? And if so, what does he say?
I don't know if he knows about chocolate titties, but he definitely knows about all the others.
Yeah, I mean, he knows you do.
I do him to him.
Sure.
I mean, if I'm, especially when I used to produce Vince a lot, I would do his part as if he would do it. With his voice, his mannerisms, everything.
D writes, we all know Vince is a workaholic and loves it, but other than working out, what does Vince enjoy doing whenever he has quote unquote free time? Does he have any hobbies? Does he have a favorite TV show or movie that you know of?
Well, as far as TV shows, right now, what the hell is he watching? Right now, he's found Deadwood, so he loves Deadwood. It depends, really depends on what he has time to do. There's not a whole lot of free time. I know he enjoys going to the gym. Does that count?
I know that, you told us he likes Deadwood, but what's his favorite longest running weekly episodic television show in history?
Monday Night Raw.
Well, let's talk about what comes up, and it's the pretty controversial interview on HBO. It's a pretty big deal when this comes out because Piper's technically under contract, and they're airing a pretty controversial interview where he's sort of blaming the wrestling business for a lot of situations and drugs and substance issues that guys have. And then he finds out that he's been let go online. What do you remember about this HBO interview and the decision to let him go?
Well, he was not let go online. He was definitely called and told that they were letting him go. The interview was done beforehand. Roddy had told us about the interview. However, he had also told us that he, didn't say anything bad, that he only talked about himself. And the way that it was framed in the documentary and the way that it was framed didn't come across good for Roddy and or for the company. And Vince didn't want to be associated with it, so he cut ties. He felt that Roddy could have prepared us a lot more for everything that he said. And when Roddy had told us about what he had said in the interview, he didn't bring up the things that they played. And maybe he forgot, I don't know, and I really and truly don't believe that Roddy purposely kept things from us. I just think that the way that the interview was edited and the way that it aired didn't look good. And it didn't portray Roddy well, didn't portray the company well, and Vince didn't feel that it was a good look for the company. So he parted ways.
Piper has admitted that he was difficult to do business with. And, Dave Meltzer even wrote, quote, "He had made demands of Vince McMahon that nobody else would dare do, and he got away with it." What type of relationship did Piper and McMahon have where he could sort of get away with stuff that maybe others couldn't?
Roddy and Vince had a love-hate relationship, and, they both needed each other, especially in the early years. And I think that Vince enjoyed the back and forth with Roddy because it was always a chess game.
This is surreal.
And Roddy could be difficult to deal with, but I always go back to, as long as you know what the hell you're dealing with and you know how to deal with it, you can work your way through the minefield. And Vince used me for a lot of that. Roddy and I were friends, but he also respected me, and I could get Roddy to do things that Vince couldn't get him to do by asking him in a different way. And if I could look at Roddy and say, "Roddy, this is coming from me," and especially in later years when he knew that, okay, like with the SmackDown stuff, I know this is coming from Bruce. And I had a lot of input from Roddy ahead of time. I would get his input beforehand. And he felt that I was working with him and thought that, okay, if it's coming from Bruce, he gave me a lot more leeway than he did other people. And I enjoyed that, and I didn't abuse it. I shot straight with him, and in return, he shot straight with me.
Pretty happy with Jim in this regard, and encourages him to ride with Vince McMahon. He says, "Hey, come ride with me." Listen, you've talked about this on the show before, but you're taking a major risk to ride shotgun with Vince McMahon in the mid-90s, are you not?
Yes, because it's like John Candy in the damn Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He just becomes the devil. He likes to drive quickly, as we say.
All right,
very quickly.
I'm going to read what Jim wrote, and then I want you to sort of reenact it as Vince McMahon. Are you ready?
Sure.
Beside me, this is all while they're driving. Vince is driving. Beside me, Vince was singing at the top of his lungs, punching 90 miles an hour on a secondary road, all while quote unquote dancing in his seat. "I'm an amazing dancer for a white man," he shouted over the music.
"I'm an amazing dancer for a white man." Yeah. Well, he is. He's a great dancer. He's a good dancer.
Oh my God. That is the funniest fucking thing ever. I'm an amazing.
By the way, I'm a very good dancer.
Yeah.
Good singer too. Spend my days working hard on the go, but the hands on the clock keep spinning too slow. I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight. And that's with hillbilly teeth in, motherfucker. Okay. Sorry.
So,
nothing against hillbillies. It's just my fucking teeth are all fucked up.
These traveling with Vince stories are the highlight of Jim's book, Slobber Knocker, which is available now on Amazon, by the way. And I think his new book, Under the Black Hat, is available for pre-order too. And it's like top of the charts. So check out Slobber Knocker and Under the Black Hat, which comes out next year around WrestleMania time. Imagine that. So another great Vince story. I thought I heard something in the trunk. My first thought was They've put longtime employee Howard Finkel in the trunk as a rib. Is it the car? I asked. Jesus Christ. Listen, will you? Vince growled. I closed my eyes and listened as hard as I've ever listened to anything in my life. Here it is, he said. And he began to fart. Long, bass-filled flatulence that eventually finished with a smile of pride from the chairman. You hear it now? He asked, as he cackled with laughter. I made a split decision not to sell it in any way. I sat facing forward like nothing had happened, and Vince was so happy with himself. You know how I get the longevity and smell, Jim? Protein. I ate nothing but fucking protein, pal. Yeah, it wasn't that impressive, I said. Vince's head swiveled in my direction like I had just insulted his wife or something. What? He asked with a menace. He was serious, offended even. I couldn't back down now. It was a test. I was sure it was. Well, I've been around the business for over 20 years, Vince, and Robert Gibson. Vince then locks the windows and lets another one go. Twice the volume, twice the smell. He's watching my reaction intently as we continue to tear along the highway at speed, and his creation was putrid. How about that one? Vince asked. He hated to be beaten at anything, even farting competitions. What a fucking great story. You got any good farting stories with Vince?
No, but my favorite one, I do. They're putrid. But my favorite is when he would go to the bathroom in like the guest, like in the half bath in his house. And then go, God damn it, I forgot my book in the bathroom. Would you? And he sent Jim Cornette in there to go get it. And Cornette went in and like, it's a half bath. It's a sink and a toilet. And Cornette actually looked around for a while. Vince, goddamn, I can't find your fucking book. But whoever fucking took a shit in here, and I do shit like that. I did like to do that to my son all the time, where I'll be taking care of business and I'll say, Kane, I need my phone. And he'll come. I can hear him. I can hear him run down the stairs and find my phone, come running in our bathroom and go, oh my God. Yeah, I learned that one from Vince. Stinky.
Yeah, it's good stuff. He tells another story about riding along with him and being pulled over by an Ohio State trooper. You got to go out of your way to see the book Slobber Knocker to get that story. There's a really fun punchline there, but it's his story, so we'll leave that one in the book.
You know what? Actually, and I saw this the other day. Someone sent it to me, and his story is completely fucking wrong.
All right, well, tell his version.
And I'm going on fucking record to say his story's wrong.
Okay.
Because I was in the goddamn car with Jerry Briscoe. I wasn't in the car with fucking Watts and Pat.
Okay, so the story is McMahon's driving like a bat out of hell, and the Ohio State trooper pulls him over, and Vince rolls down the window and says, we just finished producing our national television broadcast, Monday Night Raw. I'm Vince McMahon, and this here is good old JR beside me. The cop says, so you're Vince McMahon? I am. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And the cop says, well, I guess that makes me the big boss man then. And gives Vince a speeding ticket and says, have a good night. And you say, yeah, that's not the way that happened.
That's not the way it happened.
All right. How'd it happen?
We're going through construction and Vince is driving kind of erratically. I was in the car. It was Vince driving, JR running shotgun. I was in the back seat. We needed more beer. So, I needed more beer. So Jerry Briscoe goes to the back and gets to Watts and Pat's car, and he gets beer from there. Well, the traffic's moving like 2 miles an hour. You can't. So Jerry's running back and forth and bringing beer. So I'm taking the beer, but we're locking Jerry out. Well, he's on the outside of the car and the thing drives a little bit. And we go on, and Jerry and I were drinking quite a bit in the back seat. It just goes on. So Vince is kind of hitting cones, and they're trying to make them roll back into Watt's car and things of that nature. But he's also driving in the construction area. And when construction ends, he takes off doing like 120 miles an hour. Well, the cop comes, pulls us over, takes Vince out of the car. Takes Vince, puts him in the back of his car. comes back to us. Now, Vince did say the shit, yes, officer, we were just down the street and producing Monday Night Raw. Like, he knows. I mean, like, what the fuck? Vince is dressed in his Monday Night Raw shit. JR's dressed in his Monday Night Raw shit. Who the fuck cares? And so the cop has Vince in the back. The cop comes back over on the passenger side. JR's in the front. Shines the light on JR. And he says, y'all been drinking tonight? JR says, no, sir, I had a beer earlier, but not drinking tonight. He said, how about your driver? No, sir, he hasn't had anything to drink. Vincent had nothing to drink. So then he comes to the back seat and he opens up the back door and he shines the light in the car. And he looks underneath, and Jerry Briscoe had like a 6-pack, like at his feet. And the cop looks at that and says, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He says, you drink all those beers? He said, yes, sir. And he says, how many beers have you had? He goes, just these right here. And he counts them and says, you drink all those? He says, yes, sir. He says, do you realize I can give you a ticket for each one of those open containers? Like $180 per open container? Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir. Then he shines the light over to me. Well, underneath my legs, I had like 3 6-packs. And now I didn't drink them all, but, I just went with what Jerry said. Cop shines the light over me. He says, how about you? You been drinking? Yes, sir. How much have you drank? I said, well, just these right here. And he goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, goddamn it, son, that's just stupid. We're like, yes, sir, it's stupid. And, we're sorry, but, we didn't do anything. So he comes back and he's talking to us and he says, boys, I got over 8 calls that there was some reckless driver driving through, tipping over cones, driving over 100 miles an hour coming down here. And y'all down here, you're drinking and doing all this shit. Yes, sir. Sorry, we just come back. He goes, so that really is Vince McMahon I got in the back of my car back there, isn't it? We're like, oh, yes, sir. It really is. That's Vince McMahon. He goes, well, boys, I guess that makes me the big boss man tonight. And all 3 of us were like, yes, sir. You sure sell art. Yes, sir. You're the big boss man. We're really sorry. He says, well, he passed the test. We're going to let him go. And y'all need to pull over at the next stop and get rid of all this alcohol you got in here and get on your way to your hotel and drive under the speed limit and let us go. But there were times when Vince would get pulled over and like take the ticket and just throw it in the back and take off. It's kind of fun, but I was actually there for that one.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.